Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. Here we talk about weight, body image, emotional eating, and other personal development topics. I'm your host, Amy Beltran, CEO and founder of Irresistible University and IrresistibleIcing.com. Let's get started with today's episode. Welcome back to the Irresistible You podcast. This is episode number 8, and today we're talking about the inner fat girl and what that means. So, last week we talked about what I call fat girl problems that they don't understand, meaning the people that have never walked a day in our shoes. And I want to bring something up that I think is just so important and something that is not often talked about, and that is the concept of the inner fat girl. So, how many times have you said to yourself, I am so sick of being the fat girl. If I could just lose all of the weight, then I'll finally be happy. How many times have you said something to that effect? And while you're saying this, at like a surface level, it seems like the extra weight is what you're saying that you hate and what you want to get rid of. There's a lot more to that story. A lot more. It goes a lot deeper than that. See, when I say the phrase or the term fat girl, this is not just a descriptive phrase. And I know I've said it in several episodes and I'll say it all the time, is that no one uses this phrase to talk nicely about anyone, including when you talk about yourself. You're not using that in a kind way. This phrase is always used to intentionally hurt you. It's a phrase that goes really deep. It's a loaded weapon, and that phrase and everything that's behind it in this loaded weapon doesn't just go away because you lose all of your weight. It's still going to be there haunting you in the background if you don't address some things while you're on this weight loss journey or this self-love journey. So when we're on a weight loss journey, when we first start out, we're all gung-ho, we've got the right foods, we've got an exercise plan, and we start out doing this because we think it's just about weight. I'm tired of being the fat girl. Let me just get the fat off my body. I'm sick of the weight. And I don't know if this has happened for you, but somewhere along the way in your journey, you start discovering that you're unpacking so much more than just pounds. We're unpacking years and years of emotions, unresolved trauma, hate for yourself and hate that you've received from other people, so many different insecurities, and so much more. I say all the time that it's not all about the weight, but yet it is all about the weight. And that weight has been there as a shield. It's been this like big shield of denial, a shield to distract you and to protect you from all of that baggage that's underneath. And so when we go on these big weight loss journeys, it's not just about our body and it's not just about losing that weight. On the surface level, we think that's all it is until we start to dig deeper. And that's where I want to bring in what I call the fat girl mentality. Now, the fat girl mentality, she will follow you throughout your entire weight loss journey, even into maintenance and goal. And she's going to keep following you and haunting you and bringing you back in that yo-yo diet body hate cycle unless you learn how to put that bitch to sleep. Now, that's why if you're listening to this, I'm pretty sure you've probably gone through your share of yo-yo dieting. And this is why we lose weight, we lose all the weight, we lose some of the weight, and we still see ourselves as fat. Has that ever happened to you where you've lost weight and people are telling you how amazing you look? Oh my gosh, have you lost weight? What are you doing? What is, and you can't accept any of those compliments because you don't see yourself that way. You still see yourself as the quote unquote fat girl. And the reason for that, it takes a long time for our mind to catch up to our body if we are not simultaneously working out our minds and our bodies, because this is a mindset that you have to change. This isn't just about burning through the pounds and losing weight. This is a mindset shift. And a mindset shift, I promise you, is harder than any type of weight loss or any type of diet plan. And this journey about losing the weight, it's also about all of this invisible weight that has been literally holding you back. So the physical weight is there and you're using that as a shield, but it's also holding you back from doing certain things in your life and living to the fullest and playing to the fullest, right? So when you're on this journey, you've got to figure out also, how the hell do I get all of this clutter out of my head so that I can truly become the most irresistible, best version of myself? So if you're sitting there and you are starting over on a Monday, or you're starting over next week, or you're telling yourself you're starting over in January, or whatever that date is that you're giving yourself, and you're doing it because you keep telling yourself you're sick of being the fat girl, you're sick of feeling miserable, I want to challenge you to address the things that you can't always see, right? And not just look at this as weight loss and as a diet. And as you know, I don't believe in dieting. I think that's a whole other issue for another day. But when you look in the mirror, you think that being the fat girl is the worst possible thing in the world that you could be. And you think by fixing that, it's going to be the key to all of your issues and all of your happiness and all of that. And I shared with you last week that, sure, losing weight physically is going to make you feel better. It's physically going to allow you to do certain things that you can't do at a certain size. And that's just the reality of bodies and weights. And, there is science to that. There's nothing wrong with loving yourself at any size, and I wholeheartedly believe that you should. But when you go on this weight loss journey, it starts out that way, right? As you're just losing weight, you're just trying to physically change your body. And what I want you to start thinking about is, when you tell yourself you're sick of feeling fat, you're sick of being the fat girl, I want you to think about the fact that what she's actually telling you is the things that I'm going to talk about next. So that inner fat girl, what she's saying to you, number one, is you have no confidence. And you're telling yourself, I don't have any confidence. I don't have confidence because I'm fat. I don't have confidence in myself because, I have fat rolls when I sit down, or I have fat rolls when I put my pants on. And if I could just lose the weight, then I would feel more confident in myself. Then I would go apply for that job, or then I would go on vacation, or then I would go wear a bathing suit, or whatever that thing is that you want to do. And the inner fat girl is telling you that you're only going to love yourself and love your body once you lose all the weight. But in the meantime, I need you to hate yourself. I need you to call yourself names, and I need you to feel like shit about yourself, to where your confidence is shattered in a million pieces all over the floor. And she has led you to believe that you will never be anything in life while you're in this fat body. She tells you you can't dress in fashionable clothes. You can't wear stripes. You can't wear a crop top. You can't wear a beat face and makeup. You better not walk in high heels and actually think you look good. She makes you feel like shit. And that is the inner fat girl speaking, because if you're in a bigger body now and you lose weight, do you think you're just going to naturally have the confidence to rock a form-fitting dress? Okay, maybe. But you're going to be self-conscious. You're going to be pulling and tugging and da-da-da-da the whole night and everything like that. So what I want you to start thinking about is, put that inner bitch to sleep, that inner fat girl, put her to sleep. Because you need to have confidence now, not 50 pounds from now, not 100 pounds from now. Start working on that confidence now. Because if you can work on confidence at your highest weight and literally believe yourself and feel good, the things that will come for you later will be amazing. So we're going to tell her, yes, I'm confident. Yes, I look good. And I don't want to hear it from you, because she's still going to be in your ear even when you have lost all the weight, if you don't put her to sleep now. Number 2 is she is telling you to tell yourself, I have no self-control. So you've been telling yourself for years, I have no self-control. She wants you to believe that when it comes to food, you have absolutely no way to control yourself. And you have been conditioned to believe that this is true and this is just the way you are and you're never going to change. So when you feel like shit about yourself and you have no confidence, it's shattered all over the floor, we all know food has become our greatest comfort. And so you've turned to food to soothe yourself, to feel better, and to feel better about the jeans that don't fit. You start eating more because that's the thing that has always comforted you in those times. So she is telling you, I have no self-control and neither do you. And let's dispel that and again, put her to bed, because the truth of the matter is what goes in your mouth is actually one of the few things in this life that you can control. You get to decide what goes into your mouth. And with everything else that goes on in life that is completely out of control, that actually gives you back so much power when you realize you are fully in control of that. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't need help with binge eating or emotional eating, because those are actual disorders and those are things that sometimes we need therapy to help us get through. So what I'm telling you is, you have the power. It's like, what was like Wizard of Oz, where she's like, Dorothy, this whole time you've had the power within you. You have that power within you, but you might need help to reach that full potential. Does that make sense? So we're going to tell inner fat girl, listen, I do have self-control. I am in control, not you. Okay. What happens a lot of times too is inner fat girl tells you to believe I don't deserve happiness. And that was true for me. So for so many years of my life, my inner fat girl told me, you don't deserve to be happy and have fun until you lose the weight. Who do you think you are with your big fat self, laughing and having fun and wearing a tight dress and wearing the stuff that you wear? Look at you in that size. Who do you think you are? You don't deserve to look like that. You don't deserve to dress like that. And you sure as hell don't deserve to be happy and have fun. Girl, what a waste of time it is to constantly put our life on hold because of our body. You deserve to be happy now, regardless of what size you're at. Because here's the thing. Again, it's back to confidence. If you're not happy now, how are you going to be happy at a smaller size and maintain that feeling? Because the inner fat girl will come back to haunt you at your smaller size if you haven't addressed this. And so you have to be working and addressing these things now in the process, in the journey, because that is how we keep yo-yo dieting. That is how we keep putting the weight back on, because this inner fat girl is just telling us that we're not worthy. You're never going to be happy. You're never going to be anything until you get the weight off. And if we could shut her down now and actually be happy where we're at while we're working on ourselves, she doesn't have room to come up in here, okay? The other thing, this is the fourth thing that the inner fat girl keeps telling us when we have this mentality, is my body is just like this. So there's nothing I can do. I know I should lose weight. I know I would feel better, blah, 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 blah. But this is just who I am. This is just, how I'm always going to be. And that's because the inner fat girl knows that you want to lose that weight. And she's scared and she's insecure because she knows you're capable of it. And this goes back to what I said about knowing that you're actually in control. She knows that. So she knows that you're capable. She knows that you're actually in control, but you don't have the confidence and belief in yourself to actually be in control of your body. And the inner fat girl has led you to believe that this is just the way life has to be. So you start saying things like, this is just how I am. I've always been big. I'm just big boned. Guys, that's not even a thing. Big bones. Come on. So, and when you've been fat your entire life, there's a mentality that comes in there to say, like, why try now? What's the point? Every time I try, it's the same old story. It starts out good. I get derailed. I go off the track and I gain back 20 more pounds. You've got to put that to sleep, because you do not have to accept where you are. If your weight is causing you to feel miserable, if it is causing you to feel limited in the things that you can do, you don't have to live in a body that makes you feel like a prisoner. You don't have to live in a body that is physically limiting you because of the weight. Sure, you need to accept where you are right here, right now in this moment, because in this moment, you're not going to lose 5 pounds. You're not going to lose anything. So you've got to say, yep, this is where I'm at. This is who I am. This is where I want to be. And I'm going to get there. And my body is capable of taking me there. I am able to lose weight and love myself at the same time. And so now you have to make a choice, and you either make that choice to change, or you make that choice to stay miserable and keep telling yourself these same bullshit stories about how this is how you are. And I want this to get addressed early on in your weight loss journey, because when you get to goal, you're never going to believe that your body is intended to stay there. Right? And so that's why you're flip-flopping, because the inner fat girl has told you, you are supposed to be here. You are not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be fat. And I'm going to take you back to that place. And so that's why we're constantly yo-yo up and down, because we still, in our heart and our mind, believe that we are not supposed to be in this new body. We're not supposed to be able to lose weight and keep it off. And I'm supposed to be the big girl that I always was. And that's why we always see the big girl in the mirror, right? Even when you lose weight and you see a picture or you see yourself in a reflection, I've had this happen to me where it's like, who is that? That's not me. This must be a filter, or this must be like one of those skinny mirrors, or, something like that, because it's really hard to live in a bigger body most of your life. And then to all of a sudden see this figure that you don't recognize. Right? It takes time. But if you're working on this stuff in process, it's going to help so much that when you get to goal, it's like, oh, okay, there you are. All right, cool. Right? So the inner fat girl mentality, what she really, truly, 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 really wants you to believe, and I know that this is like embedded in your mind, whether you know it or not, is she is telling you, you will never, ever, ever get rid of me. So even if you lose every single ounce of weight, you're never going to get rid of me, because I'm going to always be standing right here reminding you that you're still not good enough. And that if you're not careful, you're going to be right back where you started from, and you'll never get rid of me. I'm here to stay. So that's why at a smaller weight, if you've gone through the journey, you get this. At a smaller weight, you still think that everyone that stares at you when you walk in a room or down the street, that they must be staring at you and judging you because you're too big. You will continue to second guess every time you walk into a room whether or not the seats are going to hold you, or, is there enough room for me in this place? You're always going to think about or have this like little flutter of anxiety every time you're about to board a plane, because you feel like you're too big and your fat's going to spill over into another seat. This is why even when you start to lose weight, I just had a conversation with someone the other day about this. You still go to the back of the store, to the plus size section, because you still think those are the sizes that fit you. Or you're still buying clothes in a 1X, 2X, thinking that's your size, when it's actually not. And those things are hanging off of your body, because your mind and your body not caught up to you yet. And that inner fat girl is still hanging around, reminding you of who you were, right? You can get rid of this mentality. You can put her to sleep, and it will pop up every now and then. No matter how much hard work you do, when you've been like this, and I'm talking to people that have been like this most of their life or a large majority of your life, when that's your case and that's your story, I don't feel like this stuff ever truly 100% goes away. I'm going to always be very honest with you about that, but I do believe and I know that it gets better and that you can put this stuff to sleep and you can, form a new mindset and put that other one down, And so it's kind of like, and I don't want to say this to like discourage you in any way, but like let me compare this to like an alcoholic. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. They will always have that because it's a disease, right? And I'm not saying body image issues are a disease. They're not. Binge eating disorder is a disorder, yes. But if you have these issues, you have to do so much hard work to get there, to work through those issues, to changing your mindset is hard. Anyone can lose weight. And when I say that, let me use an example. So these people that go on like The Biggest Loser, which I absolutely hate that show with a passion, okay? Because it's not real. And there's a reason why these people are able to lose so much weight and then they gain it all back. So they go into a controlled environment. And that's why I say anybody can lose weight in a controlled environment. When you're in a controlled environment, you have no access to the outside world. You have people cooking your food, people portioning out your food, people giving you what you're eating. You have no access to binge. You have no access to any food other than what they're providing you. And you have personal trainers with you all hours of the day doing these ridiculous workouts. Of course you're going to lose weight. You're definitely going to lose weight. And the reason when they get home, a lot of times the weight comes piling back on and then some is because they haven't worked out the mindset. They haven't lost the like emotional baggage, the emotional weight that's been holding them down. And I promise you, if you can't lose that, you're going to stay on this cycle of, dieting, hating your body, and just the constant starting and stopping. And as you know, it's crazy making. It is not a good experience. Like, it just makes you crazy. And you start to feel like, I'll never be able to conquer this. And that's that inner fat girl mentality that's telling you that. So how do you get through this? How do you put the fat girl to sleep? How do you do it? You do it by going through a process of, again, working on your mind, your body, and your soul. You've got to get all of those things aligned. You've got to come to a place where you are ready to do this work. Because if you're not ready to do this work, it's never going to work for you. You have to be willing to come up and dig up all the things that have caused you to gain weight in the first place. You've got to be willing to work on your confidence and do things that feel super uncomfortable right now, but are going to get easier and easier and easier the more you do it. And so, yes, I have a defined process and framework that I have created, that I use, that I teach. And that process, without a doubt, is going to help you get to this point. It's not an overnight thing. It's not going to happen in a week, but it's possible. And I know it's possible. And once you start looking at it this way and you stop looking at it as, I'm just sick of being the fat girl, I got to lose weight, things are going to change for you. And not only are they going to change, they're going to stabilize and maintain, because that's the hardest part. The hardest part, like I said, anyone can lose weight. The hardest part is, can you maintain it? Can you now go out and live life? Because your weight loss journey should not be this contained environment where that's all you're focused on day in and day out for however many months that it's going to take you to lose the weight. And then I'll start living life. It doesn't work that way. Because if you do it that way, that's when the weight comes back. Because what happens when you get laid off from work and you can't handle the news? What happens when you lose someone you love? What happens when someone hurts your feelings or you lose all your money? What happens when life kicks you in the ass? if you haven't worked on all these things, you're going to go right back to the fat girl mentality all over again. So you've got to work on this now, because like I said, and weight loss is not something you can just do in a contained environment and have it stick for a long time, right? So you've got to start thinking about all these other components. And that's what I'm here to help you do through the podcast, through the blog post, through my programs, through my courses. I'm here to help you with that. So on that note, please leave any questions, comments that you have for me. You can post those up over on either my Instagram, or you can comment right on the blog post directly, whatever the best way is, or the easiest way is for you to get in touch with me. And if this resonates with you, I really, really would love for you to leave a rating and review on iTunes so that other people can find this message and can be empowered to create their irresistible life. And if you're out here living your irresistible life, taking selfies, taking pictures, doing things, showing us what's going on in your life, tag those on Instagram with hashtag irresistibleyou so that I can see what you're up to. As always, thank you guys so much for sitting with me, for listening, and for supporting the Irresistible You podcast. I will catch you on the next one.